we're going to talk about deal flow. And so we had a lot of requests, deal flow, and a little bit about capital. So I'm going to ask Gilbert to speak very, very short, 1-2 minutes on the programs that are out there. Gilbert, if you can talk a little bit about the programs that an investor would look, a flipper, that type of money versus a traditional mortgage. And then we're going to go right into deal flow. Rodney is going to go, and he's going to talk a lot about a particular deal, what to look for, what is a good investment. A lot of people lose a lot of money by picking their own investment when there's not enough meat on that bone. So Rodney's going to talk about that. It's going to be really exciting. We had a lot of comments about deal flow, and we're going to wait 1 more minute here, and then we're going to start the introductions. All right, Gilbert, if you can take a minute or so to introduce yourself, and then I have Rodney, and then we're going to switch back to you if Ty not in, and we can start the brief presentation on capital, and then Rodney, we're going to go straight to you. Okay?
Gotcha.
All right. Well, I'm Gilbert Bennet with Mizy Mortgage. We are a local mortgage brokerage here in the Tampa area, Wesley Chapel to be specific. What I wanted to talk to you guys today about, or when we're talking about alternative financing for fix and flip properties, right? So Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, traditional loans, they're not for fix and flip. They generally have, they're just not going to work. Lenders are going to write those for you. Right, so what you want to look for is the two options really are hard money or institutional fix and flip investment funds. So where can you find those funds? Actually, there's a number of lenders you can find those funds with. Some of them will fund, especially once you have a little bit of experience, up to 90% of your purchase price and sometimes 100% of your rehab, as long as there's enough meat on the bones, right? As long as there's enough value remaining or anticipated value after the repairs are completed. Most of these lenders are going to run their own evaluation on the property, possibly get their own appraisal done. A lot of the hard money, local hard money is available. You're generally looking at a lot less restrictions, a lot faster closing time when you use a local hard money lender. And the benefit is once you get some experience and history with a particular lender, they get a little bit looser with their guidelines and faster with their funds delivery, right? So I would say if you're looking at local hard money, you're probably going to start out where you need to put up 35% of the funds for purchase, maybe 100% of your rehab funds. But as you get into better relationships with them, they might get to a point where they'll fund 100% of the purchase and you just pay for your rehab as it gets done. And that's the benefit you get from working with some folks as a company that repeatedly. My main suggestion when it comes to investor fix and flip financing is to focus on building a relationship with a particular fund source, and that relationship will improve. You'll be more profitable by doing so because you're going to get better terms as you document and prove successful transactions for these folks. So the main thing, like I said, the main thing with that is obtaining the funding from the same person or same fund source will help you speed the closing. Where are those funds available? You could literally Google hard money lending, rehab lending. There's lenders like Lending One, Lima One Capital, Temple View, and all kinds of others. Some of them do require a relationship through a broker. Most of them will lend directly to you without the involvement of a mortgage broker. So look it up, look up those options, figure out what their opportunities are for Florida, for your zip code. Some of them have specific areas that they lend in and don't lend in. There's a number of lenders available. You can always look up fix and flip financing. And like I say, some of the larger ones that are well known in the industry are Lending One, Lending One, which is just like it's spelled, LENDINGONE, and Lima One, LIMAONE Capital. Those are two big ones. I do a lot of the financing. Other ones that you might be able to establish a line of credit with are Finance of America. They actually have a line of credit program for investors based on your liquid assets. So that might be another option. That might be another option there. So just real quick, you want to explore options. Main thing, not all of these lenders, and different lenders are going to have different credit requirements. So not all of them have high credit requirements. Some of them will fund all the way down to 660 or 640, sometimes below 600 scores, based on the equity in the property or the anticipated equity in the property. But of course, having a better credit score is going to open up more options for you. So you also want to always be building credit. All right.
All right. Thank you, Gilbert. And we have Gilbert information in the chat room. So if you are not sure how to get to the chat room, usually there's a control bar at the bottom of your app, your Zoom app, and there's a chat button there. Just click on the button. You'll see his information. He shared it with everyone. So if you're looking for to fund your deal, and Rodney is actually going to talk about deals that need to be funded, unless you're independently wealthy or have a stack of cash somewhere, you probably want to look at these options that are available based on, again, as Gilbert said, and the big caveat is that if there's enough meat on the bone, if you get a good enough deal, you have people that are here to finance you. They're ready, willing, and able to finance you. So we also have Ty Holt Jr. in the room. Ty, if you could introduce yourself, and then a little bit, turn on your camera, introduce yourself, and then we're going to go straight to Rodney after that to talk about the deal that he is going to, that we're going to focus on today. So Ty, just spend a couple of minutes to introduce yourself. Primarily what we have, the people we have in the room are investors. Some of them may also look to refinance their homes. There's one or two, but primarily these are guys that are interested in looking at financial sources to fund their deal. Ty?
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. My name's Ty Holt. Sorry, I was actually just invited and added to the call a few minutes ago. So I rearranged my schedule to get on. Anytime David asks if it's anything that I could do to be an asset, I jump on. But yeah, let's just say I'm not professionally ready to jump in front of a camera. I'm not camera ready at this moment. But
hey, I'm sorry about that, man. I didn't mean to put you.
You know what?
I do apologize.
we can blame Jackie this one time. Next time I'm gonna blame you. It's okay. We'll blame Jackie today. But no issue at all. So nonetheless, I own my own mortgage brokerage, Fluxx Mortgage Financial. And through that, we fund obviously residential mortgage and mortgages of any sort, as FHA, conventional, VA, et cetera, et cetera. But my bread and butter and my history was in real estate investing. So I actually started brokering commercial and hard money funds years prior to adding the real estate. Years before adding the mortgage aspect to what we do. So once I finished my MBA, I have an MBA in international business. It just organically happened to where we added mortgages to the fold and got the brokerage fully licensed as a state authorized mortgage facilitator. So yeah, I kind of jumped in as Mr. Bennett was speaking, Gilbert, and Gilbert dropped a few very, very good gems where he was just saying, how to build a relationship with specific investors that sometimes you can go to directly, or specific lenders, and just understanding the differences, obviously, between hard, institutional, et cetera, private equity. So what we do at my brokerage, what we focus on with our clients is this. There are 20 different lenders that you can go to just in this region. If you want to speak from a national point of view, you're speaking about hundreds of lenders. They all have different requirement sets. They all have different, overlays, which are different, different personal requirements that they might put onto the lender that you might not see from, that they might put onto the borrower that you might not see from a national or federal point, and they sometimes make their own rules. So the reason that we started the brokerage and what we try to do with our clients is we'll take applications and we'll work on your behalf through all of our brokering connections, whether it be West Coast, up north, East Coast, just to make sure that that one application is getting the best possible options presented to them. And that means rate, terms, requirements, time of close, et cetera, et cetera. The majority of my relationships from a brokerage standpoint, I'm not paid by my clients, I'm paid by the lending institution. So if we're negotiating, you know, a 2% origination cost for people that want to fix and flip, or 3% or whatever that is, my fee directly comes from the lending institution that we broker with. So I got into this specifically for educational purposes and to help people that didn't fully understand and needed some options. So that's my background. Happy to be on a call. If any questions come about, I'll be here. But for now, I'll press mute and give the floor to Mr. Rodney.
David, both you and Rodney are muted, and both of y'all talking.
Thank you, Gilbert.
Sorry about that.
No, thank you, Gilbert. But before we move to Rodney, if you could, Ty, put your information in the chat box, and so under everyone, so they can have it. So we have two people that can provide hard money sources. Rodney, I'm gonna mute you just for a second. And okay, so Rodney, I'm muting you. You muting yourself, so you're son. Okay, and so Ty, if you can put your information in. I've worked with both of these brothers. Both of them are great. Gilbert is outstanding with what he does. Ty is outstanding. I can vouch for both of them. And so if you and their services are free, guys. And so if you need to fund your deal, you know, you might want to jot down their information, reach out to them to find the best deal that works for you. Ty, I'm going to share your information that you sent to me. I'm going to share it to everyone. 1 second. Anyone have any questions for, because there's still about 4 or 5 people in the room that wanted a refresher on capital. Any questions on capital? You can put them in the chat room, or you can unmute yourself and ask the question. All right, Rodney, you have the floor.
Okay, I'm Rodney Washington. I'm a local realtor with Carmena Associates Realty Group. I've been in real estate altogether about 5 to 6 years. I've been a licensed realtor coming up on a year. So my anniversary coming up for real estate license. So I'm at a deal right now, and I love how you guys spoke about meat on the bone when it comes to finding a deal. And those of you guys that doesn't know the term meat on the bone, this is a prime example. This home is listed for $200,000, and we're gonna walk through it, and it has a lot of work to be done in here. And the top it can go that you can sell this home for after rehab is probably $260,000. So that's the term meat on the bones. So if this home is listed for $200,000 and you spend, the rule of thumb, $20 per square feet, it will be, this home is 1,300 square feet, so it'll be like $26,000. So you will be in a hole. You will be at $226,000 just for cosmetic rehab. And this home needs a new roof. So that's the term meat on the bone. Once you sell it, you'll be in the negative. All right, so this home is in a 33607 zip code. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,300 square feet. So I picked a 2-bedroom at 1,300 square feet because you have a chance to turn, it has enough space where you can add a additional bedroom. Let me turn the camera around. So this is the home. Let's see, what I like it does have is a fireplace. So it has a den, and this is where the 1,300 square feet come in. So this room, this den, can be turned into an additional bedroom. So now you're competing with all the other 3 bedrooms in the community instead of the 2 bedrooms. So now your price point jumps up a little more. Now you at the top end where you can sell for $300,000. So there's some homes in the neighborhood that goes for $300,000 in this zip code. And with this zip code, property stays on the market about 70, medium average 70 days stays on the market. But this is real close to the stadium, so it is a hot area. As we look around, let me turn this around again. As you walk around, there's some nice rooms in here. Maybe some additional carpet. Mainly it's cosmetic work, plus the additional roof. So it has nice bones. It's nice bones. So if we can get this home for, I will say between 120 to 150, give or take. For the repairs, like I said, the cosmetic is around $26,000. We can throw another 10 to 15,000 on top for the roof. So you're gonna be around 50K putting it in. Adding an additional room. So you're gonna be out of pocket altogether coming in with this home, probably 170, 180. And that in turn, you can sell it for, like I said, the top of the line is 260. With the additional bedroom, it bumps it up to 300,000, where homes are selling for in this area.
So Rodney, what you're saying is that because you're paying, it's on the market, you said, for $200,000, and because you're paying cash, you can negotiate that price down. There's several terms or things that you can do. You can offer the seller to negotiate the price down. So Rodney, if you can speak to that about how you can negotiate that price down. If you can read my comment when you have a chance, how you can negotiate the price down, and with the cash deal, you can the terms that you can offer to get a better deal, and then that you're saying that money then can be used toward the rehab, so that your after repair value is lower, and you can get more. You get more of a profit when you ultimately sell the home. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. So with the negotiating the terms, because just popped up on the market, an experienced real estate agent, experienced real estate investor would know that this is the aftermarket. This is the after repair value of a home. Like, is that the top end? So that's where it comes with the cash. So you will negotiate down, because it is a little high. So we'll negotiate down to 120,000, to between 120 to 150, you'll negotiate that. And with the understanding of the condition of the home, you should be able to negotiate, because it does need some work. So I guess they put it out there, just seeing who's gonna bite for that price of $200,000, which is kind of ridiculous. But
Yeah, 200,000 for a 2-bedroom is that's a little up there. That's the coronavirus price, right? That's the Rona price.
Exactly. So it's understandable. They should know that it's not worth that with the repairs that is needed. I don't know if y'all can see that roof. It has to be changed. There's some leaks there. So
also a couple of things that Rodney mentioned, I just want to highlight that, is that some of these repairs are not cosmetic. Some of these repairs are deal killers, and roofs are one of them. Gilbert, you can speak to, take a couple of seconds and speak to what is needed to ultimately have a home financed. Because when you sell it, you have to sell it to a buyer, and the buyer has to be, in most cases, is an end user that needs to finance the home. So Gilbert, if you can speak to the things that are an investor would need to have fixed, repaired, so that the home can ultimately be financed.
Well, primarily, the house needs to be livable, right? Different loan types on that final investor are going to require different things. FHA loans, VA loans, USDA loans, those government insured loans. The inspector's actually going to be looking at that seal and looking for roof leaks. He's going to be looking in the attic to see, are there any stained or water damaged timbers or rafters or plywood that denotes a leak in the roof. And if he sees it or they see it, they're going to want to know, has that been repaired professionally? Has that been dealt with? Holes in the building envelope, so you don't want holes for rodent penetration or pest penetration. Those things are looked at. Exposed wiring. So you want to, when you're finishing a job, rehabbing a home, you want to do a good job of, one, taking care of all that stuff, and two, actually making sure you make the house livable, right? We don't want to rehab stuff to hide things from clients. We want to rehab it and fix what's broken. So those are the big things to think about. The end user, the conventional loan is a little bit more flexible. They don't really do what we consider that government home inspection. And that government home inspection isn't really as tight as what might be for, say, a housing department tenant moving in a home. But the appraisers, appraisers looked at a lot of houses. So he can tell, hey, this roof has 3 different color tiles on it, shingles on it. It looks like, and been some repairs. You need to document the history of those repairs, that kind of thing. So those are the things that happen or that we deal with when we're looking at final end user financing for it. All right.
Thank you, Gilbert. I know that you may have to hop off here shortly, but I want to thank you for hopping on and giving us your expertise. If there's anything that you want to, I know you have to leave. Anything that you want to, anything finally that you want to pass out to everyone or give?
Well, just like I say, when you're looking at the property, one thing that people miss, I think this is what you and Rodney were addressing with Meat on the Bones. A lot of rehabbers hop in their first house and they think, oh, I can make the house is, let's say the house is $200,000 and it's gonna sell for $270,000. And I only need to do $20,000 in rehab. Well, you got $20,000 in rehab, but if you borrowed $180 to do it, and you're paying 3 or 4 points on the borrowed money, and you got a holding cost of $1,200 a month between what you're going to wind up paying in taxes, water bill, electricity, builder's risk insurance policy to cover you for theft. all those things, you need to consider the holding cost as a part of the deal when you're calculating those numbers, right? And those holding costs are where people lose a lot of money because maybe they had to hold the house longer than they anticipated, and instead of being profitable, they wind up losing at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, before you sell that house, the lien holders go get paid off. They go be the made their money up front, and they go be paid off, and you will be stuck with any excess bills. So be cognizant of that when you're getting into flipping homes. But I do got to leave. Got a noon meeting I need to hop on. So talk to you guys later. Have a great day.
Gilbert, thank you so much. All right, if you guys have any questions for Gilbert, you have his contact information. Ty will be staying on the call, so he will provide additional information on financing the deal, what to look for. He was a commercial investor, like he said, and commercial real estate investor, as well as investing in general. So he will be able to lend his expertise and knowledge toward this. So back to meat on the bones, because this is important, guys. And Gilbert touched on it. I want to talk about it a little bit more, because it's more than just, you have more financing, more cost in the deal than just the cost of the house and the cost of the repairs. You like I said, you have holding costs, you have insurance costs, you have the cost to settle the deal, the transfer tax, the taxes and all, and insurance and those type of things. That's added to the deal, so it's not just, okay, I bought the house for $150 and I put $20,000, I'm $180 in, and I sell it for let's say $180, $280, so I'm going to get $100,000 check. No, that's not it. Ty, could you speak to some of the other costs that are tip? I know you can't speak to insurance and to the taxes and stuff like that, but you can speak to some of the typical transfer fees that someone would, an investor would incur, transferring it ultimately to the buyer. Could you speak to that, please?
When you say, yeah, absolutely, I can.
But when you say transferring to the buyer, do you mean from the investor already owning and selling it, or do you mean once?
Yes. The investor has had purchased a home for, let's say, $150, and he's already made his repairs to the home, and now he's ready to put the home on the market to sell the home to an end user. Speak to that.
So a rule of thumb that I give my clients is this, and you have to remember, my background in investing had originated in Philadelphia, and Pennsylvania has a lot higher taxes when it comes to transfers, fees, issues than Florida has, but still the rule of thumb remains relevant. I always say subtract 10% off of your total selling cost. That's what I say. The reason why I say that, and I'm going to explain it in full, is this. So let's use round numbers just for the sake of argument, okay? Let's use the house that Rodney was just nice enough to show us. And let's say hypothetically that house sells for $300,000, just for the sake of using round numbers. When you sell a house, as the seller, as the investor, as the owner, you are held to a list of fees that are going to come off the top in addition to what the principal balance is that's owed to any lender, okay? In addition to whatever debts you've incurred while you own the property, like the insurances and the interest payments, et cetera, like Mr. Gilbert mentioned. So when you sell this property, the seller is mandated to pay a few things that the buyer is not. One of those are the fees for the real estate agents. So let's say both real estate agents in a standard sell and purchase transaction, the real estate agent costs is 6%. That comes directly from the selling proceeds. So if you're selling the house for $300,000, 6% of that is going directly to real estate agents for the buyer and for the seller, hands down. Then you're paying the bulk of transfer taxes. Then you're paying whatever title fees for your title policy insurance that was there prior to, even though it's going to be prorated and it's not going to be the full amount, but you're paying a portion of that. You're paying estate transfer taxes. There's going to be a heavy amount that comes out, and typically it ranges from about 8 to 12%, depending on what state you're in and what fees are going to fall on you. So I'll always use 10%. So let's go back to Mr. Rodney's property that's going to sell at $300,000. If you subtract 10%, that means assume that you're going to pay $30,000 off of the top of the selling purchase price. Okay, so if you found a buyer that's buying it for $300,000, $30,000 is going to come off the top. Period. Once that $30,000 is taken, you also have the principal balance that's on hold that you borrowed to get this property fixed. So let's say hypothetically you borrowed a total of $180,000. That $180,000 comes off as well. So now total, you've spent $210,000. Okay, because you have to pay the principal loan back, and you're also paying the fees that come directly from the top of the purchase or from the top of the transaction. In addition, this is what kind of touches back to Mr. Gilbert, and what he was trying to mention to you is any fees that you were paying as an investor, you want to keep a balance sheet. You know, you want to keep transaction histories of what you paid per month when it comes to your interest only payments, when it comes to your homeowner's insurance, when it comes to any kind of utilities, if you went over budget, anything else, you want to keep a running tally of that so you can see how much you spent during that time, because that's going to obviously eat at the overall profit when you want to calculate your net profit. So essentially 10% upfront, principal balance, and whatever fees you incurred during that time would all on paper come from your gross revenue and give you that net number.
All right. So, and Ty, that's where a lot of junior investors kind of miss it a little bit, is that they don't think about the overall cost of the deal. And so when Rodney or a seasoned real estate person that has invested, when they pass up a deal, and some buyers that are not, that may be their first deal, and they say, wow, I'm buying a house for $150, I can sell it for $300, I'm going to make $150,000. And then, Rodney would say, or a real estate agent would say, whoa, pump your brakes. This is some of the things that you need to consider. And because of that, let's say that there's not as much spread. Let's say they purchased it for $100, they can sell it for $200, but they got $20,000 that they need to do for cosmetics. Okay? And they say, wow, I'm still making $30,000. This is a great deal for me. I'm making $30,000 in 4 months. That's good. But then they didn't figure in all of the costs associated with the deal. So when you use that, after you use that rule of thumb, which is 10% on the deal, and you got to pay your carrying costs, your insurance, your real estate, your agent, all that other stuff, you're actually negative. It actually cost you $220,000 to sell this house, and you only you thought that you can sell it for $20,000. It cost you $220,000 to actually make the sale, and now you're upside down on the deal. So that's what we're talking about with meat on the bones, having someone look at the deal that is seasoned, so that they can say, hey, listen, this actually has enough spread, enough meat on that bone, enough profit margin in the after repair value of it to where you can make a profit. Now, done right, done correctly, you can make a really decent profit. We worked with an investor, a couple months back, and he made $60,000 on this deal. A check for $62,000 in his hand. And so there are deals out there, but you may have to do something to the deal. You may have to add value to the deal. And that's what Rodney was speaking to where you may purchase a 2-bedroom home, but then convert that into a 3-bedroom home, and now you've added value to it. You've added, that home is now more valuable as a 3-bedroom versus a 2-bedroom, especially if you can add square footage to it. And so those are the things that, by working with a seasoned person that's done this before, that should be able to talk, whoever you work with should be able to discuss with you how to add value to a particular deal. So Rodney, if you could speak to some of the points again on how you would add value to the deal that you're at, just real quickly, because we've got 4 minutes left, maybe 2 minutes, and then we'll wrap up. We'll have a question and answer session, and then we're finished up with this particular training. So Rodney, if you could.
Okay, exactly. So just like you said, it was a reason that I picked this home, the 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and I specifically went for 1,300 square feet and up, because it's that possibility of adding an extra room, which will increase the value. And for this home, square footage wise, like, this is on a double lot. So like I chose this for a reason. Like, you can add extra, I can't go back there, but you can add extra square footage to this particular home, which will increase in value. And it's just getting this home for the right price. I see that, this particular home is in an estate, so maybe that was the reason they just threw that number out there, trying to get it as high as possible. Yeah, you can add tremendous value to it. I'm walking around here. There's a lot of room in this home to add square footage, and get that top price of $300,000 and up. And also, I wanted to point out with this zip code as well, it went up 15% in home median value within 12 months. So, if it stays on that course, you may get, 310, 320 for, when you're done, finish rehabbing it. It may have went up in value even more.
Wow. So so a couple of points that you made, Rodney, and I want to emphasize. You make your money on the buy, on the purchase. Buying your home right is where you make your money, not on the sale. A lot of people get that mixed up. Is that, wow, I'm selling the house. No, you made your money on negotiating the purchase of the house, on negotiating the rehabs, on picking the right colors, on focusing on the rooms that a buyer would be more interested in perceiving the value of the home as higher. The kitchen, the master bathroom, master bedroom. Those are the rooms where the things that you can do to focus and add value, even more value to your home. So Rodney, thank you for picking that particular property. And one other point I want to make out is that when you are evaluating properties, you want to make sure that you don't buy junk. A lot of people fall into, I'm going to buy the cheapest thing, and then they stuck with it because they can't sell it, and now instead of them selling the home to a potential buyer because the buyer don't want the home, they have to either rent it or do something else with it for disposing. So you have to have a disposal plan. You have to have an exit plan on every real estate investment that you do. Whether you're going to hold on to it and rent it, whether you're going to flip it, whether you're going to do some other exotic stuff to it. I don't want to take up a whole lot of time because we probably have a whole bunch of maybe another session just on some advanced techniques on investing, and so in future corner class sessions. But I want to open up the floor to any questions about financing your deal or picking the right deal. Are there any questions out there that someone would have? Either you can unmute yourself or put something in the chat box. All right, so there was a couple of people that I know on a questionnaire wanted capital. Sylvia, did the capital session answer your questions? Sylvia Lee, you can unmute yourself. Okay, Sylvia may have stepped away, or maybe her questions have been answered. There was another person in the room specifically that had questions on capital. So if you could, you can unmute yourself, or if you had your questions answered, I understand, but you can unmute yourself or type in the chat any questions that you had on capital. All right, I don't see anything. Okay, so deal flow. Any questions on deal flow? I see one question here. I'll read it out on deal flow, but are there any other questions on deal flow? All right, so Rodney, we have one question that was sent in to me about deal flow, and the question was, what are some hot zip codes? What are some zip codes that areas, let's say areas that someone should think about when they're thinking about flipping a home?
Okay, so the main area, the hot area right now, of course, is Seminole Heights. So anywhere in Seminole Heights, homes value has skyrocketed, and they're going fast. Also, Wellswood is a great area.
Yeah.
Any place that is near the stadium, because David, I know you mentioned an exit strategy. I don't know if we're going to do another class about that, but
yeah, we're going to probably have another more of an advanced class on deal flow, which we'll discuss exit strategies and some other techniques. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because this home is, it's really close to the stadium, so you can fix it up, maybe do an Airbnb. This is a good rental area, so that's of course for another class, but.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Ty, I do have a question about capital funding your deal. With respect to your hard money lenders, do they look at your credit score or do they look at the deal?
It's a very good question. Your credit score is the first thing that's looked at, and the deals are made or broken based on credit score. Okay. The difference is for any investors that are used to or have in the past purchased their own home, personal primary residence, and obtained a mortgage, they're probably familiar with the acronym DTI for debt to income. Okay, debt to income is something that hard money lenders exclude, which is a good thing. Okay, so when you're getting a standard mortgage, debt to income is very important in addition to credit score. When you're getting hard money for an investment opportunity, we only look at the score. Okay, how many mortgages you have, we don't care. How many cars you have, we don't care. Only the score and the reserves that you can show in the bank and experience. So credit score, liquid capital, and your experience are the only things we're going to look at with hard money.
All right, and the better the deal, it also helps out on the with the financing. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. So the better the deal, the more of a profit margin, the more meat on the bones, like Rodney said. That's going to make it more appealing and also a safer loan for a lender. Okay, you want the loan to be safe. If the profit margin is very tight, why would we lend? What if there's an error? What if work gets pushed back? What if the market dips a little bit? What if a buyer comes in under the approved amount? I mean, the longer your list is of potential wrongs that can happen, the more risky a loan will be. So we want to minimize that list as much as we possibly can. So if we have a home where, the total loan is, let's say, only 50 to 60% of what the total loan to value is, or what the total value is rather, and that means the loan to value is only 60%, then that's phenomenal, because you have such a huge gap of profit margin. Once you get into the 65, 70, 75% loan to value, that's when a lender will say, hey, listen, if we lend all of this money up to 70, 75%, this is risky. So therefore, if you want to do this loan, you have to come out of pocket and pay this loan down to essentially 60 to 65% because it's less risky. So when there is a larger profit margin and when it's larger space for you to bring in revenue, then it makes the loan less risky and easier to fund. So yes, we look at that nonstop.
Okay, so we have another question in. It says, what is the lowest credit score to buy or invest in a house?
Okay, good question. You want me to answer that one as well?
Please do.
Okay, so good question again. That's one of those subjective questions because not all lenders are built the same and not all requirements are the same. From a rule of thumb standpoint and an overarching standpoint, I would say prior to COVID, 620, 640 was around that range to get hard money investment capital. Post-COVID, so right now, you're in that 660, 680 range. Okay. Sometimes if you're very cash heavy and it's not a huge loan and you have experience, I mean, of course, things can happen, but lenders are so frightened right now to where their overlays, their additional requirements that they place in front of you, like, hey, I need you to have a 680. They're being locked in. They're being inked in. So there is no negotiation around it. There is no favors. It's, hey, it's nothing we can do, 680 or north, and that's just it. So I would say right now be north of a 660, and in some or most cases, they're also going to ask for a 680, but a 660 can still get done.
All right, so, and then also in previous classes, we talked about how to, if your credit score is under the 660, how to increase the credit score through trade lines and some other things that we talked about. So we're building here, as you guys probably can tell, is that first we talked about, how to get your credit score up, how to get capital. We spent 2 sessions on that specifically. And then now we're doing more deal flow because we're assuming that you are working on those things that are necessary to fund the deal. Your credit score, your relationship with the lender, you're reaching out to Ty, you're reaching out to Gilbert, you're getting those things in place. So now we can talk about what is a good deal. And we spent a little time last week with Rodney on a deal that's in one area of Tampa. And now Rodney showed a second deal that could potentially be a good deal if you do some things. So we're building, guys. And so next week we're going to talk more on possibly deal flow, and then we'll build on top of that. And then we'll start showing some advanced techniques that could be used to make money in real estate. And then I'm going to circle back and we're going to talk about how to do it with no money. So there are ways of getting the deal done with no money, some money, and a lot of money. And you build your resources in on with relationships to, like I said, with the contributors that we have on our forum or outside. What we want to do is we want to empower you, give you the information you need to make money in real estate. So with that being said, are there any final questions? Any final questions? All right, thank you guys. It's been a great Corner Class Tampa. We have another session on the 3rd Wednesday of the month. We're going to reach out to you and we're going to tell you what the primary topic of conversation will be. I will see you guys. If there's no other questions, we will wrap this up, and I'll see you guys on the next Corner Class. Thank you guys.
I don't wanna hear you talk about it. I don't wanna hear what you're gonna do. Ain't it time that you're about it? The more you talk, the more you've got to prove. Don't tell me that you understand it. Don't tell me that I'm too demanding. I need you to show me you're taking this too slowly. Don't tell me that you're what I need, no. I believe that when I see so.